What up? What up? What credit questions y'all got today? Who is struggling with some collections or some credit and you're trying to get it fixed? Um, like I tell a lot of people, the first thing you got to do is actually look at your credit. I have so many people that I talk to on the phone that really never look at their credit report. And this is something that you need to do. You need to have a credit monitoring setup. I'm send y'all, save a link right here. It's something that is very critical to making sure you have good credit, because otherwise you'll never know if something happens to your credit. Like I had a situation, we bought our house a few years ago where somebody stole my credit, and they started applying for stuff, but the banks they applied at looked at my credit report and tell that I don't apply for a lot of credit, especially not all at once. So having a credit monitoring is something that can save you from like being a victim of identity theft, and getting yourself in a bad situation where when you really do need your credit, you're not able to look at it. And then for those of you who are looking for business credit, I had a great conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was telling them that even though you're looking for business credit, you got to realize that they're still going to look at your personal credit. And you got to realize even though it's a business credit card, if you don't have a lot of income, if you don't have tax returns that show that the business can survive on its own, they're going to ask you for a personal guarantee. So even with getting business credit, still make sure that you're taking a look at your personal credit. And if you guys haven't got a copy of it, check out The Psychology of Credit. It's a book my wife and I wrote. If you look right up there in my bio, you can get like an ebook copy of it. If you want to, from Amazon, you got Prime, you can get, like the soft cover of it. So, get yourself financially literate. If you're looking at, it's halfway of the year is already gone. We're in July, so we're over halfway. So, you guys really gotta, if you're trying to reach some goals and do some things, you gotta tighten up on making sure that your credit is where you want it to be, because it's not gonna fix itself. I can tell you that right now. Your credit will not fix itself. You gotta work on getting it fixed. And if you guys got some questions, run some questions through there. All you gotta do is put your questions right there in the comment section, and I can help you guys maybe get through some stumbling blocks. If you got creditors that are calling you, the one thing I can tell you is pick up the phone. What's up, Ernie Keith? The one thing I can tell you is pick up your phone, answer your phone, and communicate with them, and realize that you have rights. Don't let those collections stop you from exercising your rights and having the best credit that you could possibly have. I have a lot of people that they're not thinking about that they got a lot of rights. They got things that they can do to, improve their credit and improve their situation. I mean, if you want to start a business, you need business credit. All you got to do is hit us up. We can help you get pointed in the right direction. If you're looking to do Turu and you want to get your cars in your business name, let us know what we can do to help you to get business trade lines set up. But like I said, keep in mind, some lenders, they still want to, look at your, personal credit. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. So if you have a question about FICO, so let me say this. All of the credit monitorings, they look at different types of scores. If you're looking for your FICO score, go to myfico.com. That's where you're going to get your residential home FICO score. You're going to get your auto FICO score. That's the place where you're going to get all of that. If you're asking questions about how do you build your credit during the credit process, I would tell everybody, go out. If you don't have credit or you got bad credit, go get a secured card. I mean, ASAP. Go get you a secured card. And I know the next question, where do I go? Go to wherever you deposit your paycheck. Most banks, I'm not going to say all, but most banks, most credit unions have a credit builder card, or they have a credit builder card, or they have a secure card. So go somewhere and get you a secure card started. Start a bank account, start a checking account if you don't have one, and communicate, with some of your lenders. Communicate with your bankers. Help them figure out, what it is you need to do to build your credit. And when I say have them help you figure it out, ask them at their bank, what would they suggest? Because every bank is different. If you want an installment loan, like getting a certificate of deposit, I call that some old school stuff. You could do that. If you're looking for an installment loan, you could do a secure card to build your revolving. I would suggest that you build your revolving. I think that's the most important one to build, because the revolving, determines what type of credit card limits you're going to get, all of that kind of stuff. FICO score is the same thing. And I want you to know the question that you're asking, you're not repairing the score. Like, what you got to realize, when a credit repair company is helping you, they're helping you get rid of the negative items. So your job is to create positive items. On time pay. The score itself is fixed by paying on time. Starting new credit, paying on time. That's how you fix the score. So you got to on one hand, you got to get rid of the negative items. On the other hand, you got to build positive credit. So work on building positive credit. That's the thing that's going to help you with your score. And don't get lost in the sauce about what score does what, all of that. Before you apply for something, just ask the banker, what score do they pull? What bureau do they pull? It's not that hard to just ask a question. Even if you're asking way before you get started, just say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. Do you pull all three bureaus? Is it a FICO score? Is it a Vantage score? They got like 1 million scores. So I would always say, ask the financial institution that you're applying with before you apply. Just don't randomly start applying for stuff. Go talk to them before you want to apply, and stop making these huge decisions with no time left. People, they spend more time ordering food at a restaurant than they do buying a car. You know what I mean? Like, just as picky as you are about your food, be that picky about your financing. Ask questions first. Like, don't just start applying for stuff just because you think you got a great score. I've seen people with 800s get denied. People with 700s get denied because they may not have had the credit that the financial institution was targeting or looking for. So one of the best things to do is just ask a question before you apply. I'm telling you, save you a lot of time, save you a lot of energy if you just ask a question first and not wait till the last minute. But great question though. I like the way you asked about the score. Yeah, your score changes, but realize your score is not going to go up until you start building credit. That's why they call it a credit score. You got to build credit. And if you're not building credit, you're not going to have the score that you want. So make sure you're doing that. If you have to, settle with creditors. Talk to them. Ask what's your options. And then you don't have to pay the full amount. If you've had a collection agency or a creditor after you, just realize you don't have to pay the full amount. Once you went over 30, 60, 90 days, they're going to charge that thing off, and you could settle with them. You could take them to court if you wanted to. It's not legal advice, just for entertainment purposes only, but, if you were bold enough, you can take them to court. You can get yourself in a better position just by talking to them and not being afraid. I think one of the biggest things we deal with is fear, and it's the fear of the unknown. But read. Look at your credit report. Figure out what kind of agreement that you're in. A lot of times we do all this reading on the back end, and we should start doing reading on the front end. They give you 3 days for a reason. They're giving you time to read the agreement that you're about to sign Like I said, a lot of people, it takes them longer to order food in the restaurant, longer to order some food in the restaurant than it does to buy a car. So take your time, slow it down a little bit. Don't rush to don't rush to buy things without reading the contract that you're getting into and then compare it. I see so many people go to the dealership, get their credit pulled 10 times, and you're going to the dealership looking for money. You go to the dealership and look for a car, not money. You go to 3 banks before you go to the dealership. Some banks will give you the check or they'll wire the money right over to the car dealership. You don't have to, let the car dealership run your credit 16 times and then say, I didn't tell y'all to do that. Then you stuck with 16 inquiries. Think about what you're doing. Use common sense, decision making. It's not that hard to do a little decision making and figure out, what you're doing and how you're doing it, and ask questions. That's what this is all about. You know what I mean? This is what all of this stuff is all about. It's about asking questions. And right now, I always say we all got a smartphone. We just don't use it. These phones that we have will answer just about every damn question that you have with Google. Or at least you're going to get a damn good opinion or several opinions. So if you even stumped on stuff, Google it. I say the kids of this generation have the biggest advantage because they can Google everything. Before they even ask their mom or their dad, they're probably Googling. And I'm saying as adults, we need to Google as well, or YouTube. It's so much information out here. I think nobody should have credit issues. And even if you had credit issues because of other things that happen in your life, you should be able to weave your way through it and fix it. The first time I had issues with my credit, the internet had just came out, like literally. It was like 99, 2000. I was just starting to use the internet. Let me say that. I don't know the exact date that the internet came out, but I was just starting to use it. And what I'm saying is ask more questions. That's what all this stuff is about, to help you get financially literate, help you get yourself in a better situation. Ask more questions. Don't let a lack of information mess you up or put you in a situation where you're not doing better. Because you should be able to just about buy anything that you want, get anything that you want. Because once you make enough money, you shouldn't let credit hold you back. No, what happened? I'm going to tell you, Rozelle, what happened. Somebody was trying to call. I was trying to damn stop that call. I'm going to have to start doing do not disturb when I do these because my phone gets to going crazy because people will start calling me. But if you guys got any questions, DM me, hit me up. Ask those credit questions that's going to help you get to the next level. I think that's what it's all about, figuring out how to get to the next level. Yeah, you can do that if you want. Yep. Can we help you with arbitration? Yes, we can. Yep, we can sure help you with it. So if you guys need help with that, DM me. Yes, we can help you with that. We can discuss it, when you give us a call. If you're ready to fight back with the creditors, yeah, we're ready. Do we do primary trade lines? No. You can get some new trade lines that are primary trade lines. Like I'm telling you about self-lender. You can get the secured card I'm talking about. But do we do any other primary trade lines? No. Nope. You're either going to get a brand new trade line. The only thing you could get that may help you out with that is like Boom. You can go to Boom. You can go to Rent Reporters, where they can backtrack your rent. If you've been at your place over a year or a few months, whatever it is, you can report your rent if you get something like Rent Reporters or Boom or something like that. But do I have primary trade lines? Nope, not at all. We could do something on the business side if you're looking for trade lines for your business, but anything else, nah, you gotta start from day one. What other questions we got? Got some good questions coming through. And somebody just text me or DM me, can I ask a question? Yes, you can. What questions? I love it. It's funny. I ask people to ask questions on on live, I don't get as many questions, but right after, my DM is lit up. And then I got a community text too. If you look up in my bio, I got a community text where you can text me directly and ask me, whatever it is you want to ask me. When I say community, that's the name of it. You're texting me one-on-one. Nobody else can see it. So if you want to text me, look right up in my bio, and you can text me, whatever question you got. All right, somebody says, should you pay off things in collections? I suggest everybody think about it. I'm not saying that you have to, but think about it, because you got options. You could take a third-party collection to court if you wanted to, and ask them to validate the debt, and you might win. But then you got to think about, how much is the debt? What do I owe? How much is court? And you got to kind of weigh those things. But if you're asking me, should you pay them off? You can. Yeah, you can actually negotiate with them. If anything is in collections, I'm telling you, pay less than 10%. So if you owe 1,000, offer them 100. You feel me? Like, don't go crazy trying to pay the full amount. You get what I mean? So, don't do that. So, what other questions we got? That was a good one, though. I would say negotiate. If you're talking about collections, just straight negotiate with them. Don't waste a lot of time with them. Get ready to negotiate. That's all I can tell you. I would be ready to negotiate. What's up, India? We got people from India jumping on here. I don't know how much credit advice I can give you over there, but, a lot of countries, credit is similar. It's not the same bureaus or anything like that, but the basics of it, may work out. I just talked to somebody in the Philippines, and it was some things that were similar. Yep. So, any other questions? What y'all got working? Give me some questions. Let's get it going. There's nothing wrong. Even after I post this, put your questions in the chat. It's really, really important to other people sometimes who may be afraid to ask the question. You'll never know. Something that you may ask may help the next person. So don't be afraid to post a question or to DM me. It could be something that it could be simple to me, but it could be major to you. So don't be afraid to ask a question or whatever. Don't be afraid to do it. What else is popping? If you ain't got a copy of this book, get you a copy of The Psychology of Credit. We go through some amazing subjects in here, and it's things that could really, help you out, like statute of limitations. That's huge. Like in some states, the statute of limitations could be 3 years. So you could be looking at a collection that's actually re-aged. And what I mean by re-aged, you could be trying to pay a collection that already expired as far as the law is concerned. That's why you got to do some research. That's why you got to, research things that you're going through. People ask that question all the time. How long does it take to get your credit repaired? That's the question you should ask yourself, because are you going to pay on time? That's a big question. Are you going to go get a secured card? Are you going to keep your limits below 20 or 10% when it comes time for the statement date? All of those questions I just asked you, you should ask yourself. It's not about the guy that's repairing your credit or the woman that's repairing your credit. It's more about what are you going to do? Because the credit score is like your financial score. It's telling you what you do with money on a regular basis. It's really a behavioral score. So you got to think about it. I would ask myself those questions. Am I going to pay on time? What am I gonna do to help the process? You got to help yourself in this process, which means you got to build credit. You got to pay on time. You got to know the difference between your due date and your statement date. You got to figure out all these things, because that's what's going to change your score. You got to change in order to change your score. So I'm just telling you, that's what you got to do That's what you got to do to repair your score. A lot of it doesn't have to do anything with the, I'm not going to say anything. It has less to do with a credit repair company, and it has more to do with yourself. Like, once I started learning these things, like, what's the difference between my due date and my statement date? Where should I keep my balances at before the statement date? Can I set up automatic payments to pay my credit cards so I don't forget, so I don't incur late charges, so I don't end up, going over my statement date, or do I set myself 2 alerts in my calendar? This one is for my due date. This one is for my statement date. So then I'll know, how do I make these payments? When do I make these payments? I've had so many people argue me down about, Marvin, I paid it off, but it's not reflecting that something's wrong. And it's not that you didn't pay it down. You paid it down and used it again. That's the problem. Sometimes people pay their stuff down, but they turn right back around and they use it again. And that's what ends up messing you up sometimes, because you don't know when to pay it down. And it's not all the time your due date. It could actually be your statement date. So just that right there can improve your credit score on a monthly basis. Knowing the difference between your due date and your statement date could be major. Also, are you calling in to the bureaus to erase your personal data, like old addresses? You can have addresses on there that are 10 years old, 5 years old. Some people, I've looked at their credit reports and they've never called the bureaus to delete the old information. When you move, not only should you tell the post office, you should tell the credit bureaus, so that you don't lose your mail or somebody at this old address is getting your financial information. Because they still use snail mail if you don't tell them to stop. Pug is asking, which one is better to go off, the due date or the statement date? I use both. Of course, I make my payment on the due date so I don't incur late fees. And then before the statement date, I figure out how much I want to pay down my credit card, because I may be doing something next month. So think about it. This is July. Right? So if you know that you want to buy something in August, you need to be very aware of your statement date. You get what I'm saying? So you need to be very, very aware of that. You don't need to guess about, did I pay it down? I don't know if I did. When is my statement date? We all got smartphones, so put 2 dates. Put 2 dates in your phone. Put the due date in your phone, and then put the statement date in your phone. And that way you cover that. Make sure you make the minimum payment on the due date, and then turn around before 24 hours before the statement date. Then if you want to pay it down, pay it down. Because if you don't, like you said, plan ahead before making a purchase. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because I see so many people, I want to buy a house next month, but you didn't pay your credit cards down and your score is down 50 points. So that's what I mean by when you say I want to repair my score. Really, you got to repair your behavior. It's your behavior that determines your score. It's not how many negative items. It's really about how you spend money. How you plan. That was the perfect word, Pug, that you said. I love that. It's all about planning, because you're not going to get the score. You're not going to get the limits. You're not going to reach those goals if you're not planning. So plan more, figure out what you're going to do, and then that way, as these months progress, now your score is steadily going up. There's so many things that you can do, and you have to do this. Credit repair company may not have time to sit down and talk to you about it. This may be something that you got to take initiative on your own and start reading, start researching, start Googling, YouTubing. Man, there's so much information out here. Nobody should have a bad score unless they took a month off to say, hey, I had to max out my cards to do something, but next month I'm going to get it right back up. Plan these things. Like I talked to somebody today, there's nothing wrong with maxing out a card. As long as hey, before this date I got something to do, bam, I'm going to pay it down. Or you may have made an investment, or you may have, bought something and sold it, whatever. So there's nothing wrong with maxing out a credit card. Sometimes some banks want to see that you're responsible enough to pay it off. And then that's another way to get your limits going up by maxing it out, paying it down. I'm not saying pay interest on it. I'm saying you might max it out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, take advantage of an investment, then turn around and pay it off. Those are things that you can do, and it may impress some banks. It may let the lenders, I wouldn't sweat it. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. And there's nothing wrong with doing it. But look, if anybody has any more questions, shoot me a DM, hit me up. You got my phone number somewhere. Hit me up. Let me know you need some help. I want y'all to have an amazing weekend. But get these calls in. If you want to talk, get the calls in, get the comments in. Let's go. Don't sleep on it. Get that credit score up. Set your notifications so when I go live, you can jump on it. Also, get a copy of this book, The Psychology of Credit. Enjoy your weekend. Talk to y'all later.